This Jimmy Butler situation is bananas. It's out of control. In case you missed the news yesterday, he is now suspended indefinitely. And here's the reason why. He walked out of shoot around because he found out that Highsmith was going to be the starter and he was going to be on the bench. And my first reaction was, well, Jimmy Butler, what are you doing? Why are you walking out and shoot around? You're not helping your team. And I know you're not happy being on the Miami Heat, but you got to swallow your pride. The other side of me says, well, this guy made 2 NBA finals. He's the reason why you got there. He was the best player on those championship runs. And you're just going to send him to the bench after he came back and participated in practice, knowing that he doesn't want to be on this organization, knowing that he wants to get traded. And you decide, you know what? We're going to start Highsmith over you. I don't know if I like that move because if I'm an NBA superstar, and here's my biggest concern with this whole situation. You're the Miami Heat. You're good at attracting big time stars. You have a track record where you've drafted Dwayne Wade. You signed LeBron James, Chris Bosh. But how players left Miami hasn't been great. We saw the situation with LeBron and Pat Riley. Pat Riley's like, I'm the owner of this team. You shouldn't have all this control. So he left. Dwayne Wade left. Shouldn't have left Miami to begin with. Came back. But my biggest pet peeve with the Heat's organization is I don't know if they always treat their superstars right. It's almost like, well, I'm the owner and GM, and it doesn't matter what you say, no matter how many things you've done for our organization, you can just walk and we'll start over. I don't know if I like that, especially when you're going to have to reset at some point and find another superstar. Can you earn their trust? Because again, there's two sides to every story. What Jimmy Butler's doing is crazy. Like I would not have, missed a team flight, walked out on practice. It's not the best look. But I understand his frustrations because he's let the organization know, I don't want to be here anymore. Please trade me because this is not a working situation. It's like if you're the CEO of a company, you've got a disgruntled employee. You have other employees performing well, they work well together, but this one employee wants to leave. He has made it clear, please fire me. I'm not happy here. But you decide to keep him on board. And then because of his behavior, you decided to suspend him instead of just letting him go. So that's how I feel about the situation. I think the Heat just need to move on. I think they're overplaying their cards, thinking that they're going to get some magical deal out there and somebody's going to give them a bevy of assets. That's just not realistic. It was never going to happen in the first place because at the end of the day, Jimmy Butler is 35 years old. He can opt out of his contract. So, and he's already said that he's going to test free agency. So what are we doing here? I understand you want to get value for Jimmy, but you're going to have to take your L's. You're going to have to recognize, you know what? We're going to have to go through a little bit of a rebuild. We're going to, go through a journey of finding a number one option. It's going to take some time and it's going to be frustrating. Our fans aren't going to be happy with us. But if Jimmy Butler walks and you get nothing for him, it's just not the best look, in my opinion. Because again, other superstars are watching the situation. And if you don't handle this correctly and move on from Jimmy, superstars are going to go, well, if I decide to contribute to your organization and I want to get paid and I have a resume of why I should get paid, but you don't want to give me any type of contract, then why should I come in the first place? So I don't like the way the organization is handling the situation as well. I understand people are mad at Jimmy Butler, and you have every right to be because the man is just letting you know, like, I quit. I don't want to be here no more. But he did show up for practice. And to put him on the bench, I just think it's disrespectful. Especially everything Jimmy Butler has done for this organization. I know people say, well, he's a diva now. And, back in the day, he said he would just play basketball and show up. But there comes a point where if I'm not happy with my environment, then you need to just send me home because I'm not going to, do well in this situation. I know Jimmy Butler's had a history of, some questionable things, but he's been really good for the Heat. He has given you results. And if you don't want to pay him, great, that's fine. Move on. What are we doing here? I think that the Heat are just, waiting for the best trade package. And I get wanting a good value in return, but if I'm Miami, man, they dropped the ball, in my opinion, because 2 years ago when they made that surprising finals appearance, that offseason, they should have been aggressive with upgrading the roster. And they didn't. They put all their chips on Damian Lillard, and it did not work out. They never had a backup plan. They went into last season, and they didn't go far. So for me, the organization deserves some blame as well. because, you saw what the Boston Celtics did after they lost in 7 to the Heat. They upgraded their roster and got a championship. They didn't stay content. They didn't go, "You know what? Let's run it back with Marcus Smart and Robert Williams III," knowing they need to upgrade in those positions. And they got Porzingis and Drew Holiday, and now they're trying to repeat as champs. So if I'm the Miami Heat, I'm the 8th seed. There was a lot of shooting variances. People were shooting out their minds. I mean, Duncan Robinson was playing unbelievable, but Tyler Hero got hurt after I think game 1. So you can't really rely on that run and think, okay, we can run it back and do the same thing over again. So there was no like ideas of like, let's try to trade guys to improve our roster. Pat Riley was just not going to do it. Now he does look good with the Tyler Hero situation, but my biggest thing with Tyler Hero is, can he be a top 10 player? No, he's not going to be a top 10 player. I don't think that's ever going to happen. That's no disrespect to Tyler Hero. He's been really good, but I don't know if he could reach that level. And we haven't seen him, be the number one option in the playoffs. And that's going to be a different experience, assuming Jimmy Butler does get moved and he doesn't come back and play for the team. So I think the situation is cooked. I think the organization just needs to take their L, move on, and don't expect much in return for Jimmy Butler. I know like that's a hard pill to swallow, but let's be realistic here. Teams that are vying for Jimmy Butler is really the Phoenix Suns. And the best package you might get is a few draft picks and a Bradley Beal contract, assuming, the Heat take that contract. I don't think they will. I heard a report that the Bulls and Suns and Heat are trying to work out a deal. We'll see how it plays out. I could see that, being a good package. I don't expect much to get in return for Jimmy, but if they get some draft capital, that's a W. Because again, in this new NBA with the CBA and the tax threshold, if you hit that second apron, you're going to be penalized. You have to be, stacking up draft picks. It has to happen. And if you're not doing that, you're just hurting your organization. So for me, Miami just needs to recognize, look, we signed Jimmy Butler. We thought it would work out. We got the 2 NBA finals. We didn't win the championship because we weren't talented enough. And get back to your roots. Get back to the point where you were getting big time free agents, big time trades. That's how Miami Heat starts contending again. If they want to player develop, hey, that's cool. I think that's important because in this NBA, you got to learn to have a really good player development because the guys on the bench are going to matter. And if you can't pay those guys, they're going to walk. So what do? Get really good at player development. That's how you stay relevant. So the Heat have that in order. But when it comes to, getting big time free agents, it's been a while, right? The last time they had one was a LeBron James and Chris Bosh, or Jimmy Butler to an extent, right? But they need to get back in the lab and look at what made us a great organization. What got us in championship, being a championship contender. So again, I'm not trying to, downplay the organization. I think they're great, but this whole situation is just getting out of control. Just move on, say goodbye to Jimmy Butler, and count your losses. I know it's not going to be easy, but at the end of the day, it's too much of a distraction. You got a great prospect in Claire Ware. He looks like the rookie of the year right now. Bam Adebayo, he can move off of this whole saga with Jimmy Butler. I know he hasn't been shooting well from the field this year, but I don't think that's an indictment on Bam. I think, things happen. Tyler Harris looking like an all-star. So let's all move on. Let's start over and work from ground zero. Don't expect to be like this championship contender because, again, like I know they beat the Magic last night, but I don't think they're better than the Magic. I don't think they're better than the Pacers. I don't think they're better than Boston, Cleveland. I think even Detroit's going to end up being better than them. And then you look out west, OKC, Dallas, Memphis, Houston. All these teams are ahead of the Heat because they have a number one option. And if I'm not taking Tyler Hero over a lot of those guys, like I'm just not doing that. So again, just pull the trigger and don't have these high expectations that you're going to get this amazing trade package. Just try to get something back for Jimmy. Don't let him walk because if that happens, Heat fans are going to be mad. I'm going to be disappointed because I want to see the Heat be competitive. Like this is like whack to me as a Celtics fan because they had a lot of good battles, and to see how this is all playing out for Jimmy, it's just crazy stuff. And at this point, I'm just tired of it. Just trade the guy, and yeah, those are my thoughts. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. I'd love to hear from you guys about the Jimmy Butler saga. What should the Heat do at this point? I mean, are you happy with how the organization is handling this situation? Should they be trading Jimmy right now? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one.